as far as LSU goes, first things first, tomorrow, outside of all of the festivities and all of what's going on around the game, the band, the food, the culture, everybody coming in and looking to enjoy Tiger Stadium for the first time here with Brian Kelly leading LSU. On the field, and I know this thing is a 40-point spread, and, Southern and LSU, just from a competitive standpoint, their rosters do not look the same. And tomorrow, LSU should have their way with Southern outside of some emotional plays by the Jaguars because, look, man, you're going to have some guys that are playing inside Tiger Stadium for, the only time in their life. It'll be a huge moment for a lot of people on the opposite sideline. And you're going to get their fiercest punch. But LSU should take care of business. Hopefully they take care of business tomorrow. And if they do, the things that you want to see, right? The things that you want to go into the weekend looking to take away from it, from an LSU standpoint, is first things first for me, clean up the special teams mess. Like the things that should look very easy to take care of, protecting on PAT, protecting on field goal, being able to cover kicks, being able to catch punts, being able to, make an impact from a special team standpoint. I think first things first, that's what I want to see. I want to see how they have, used this week to get right the woes that haunted them last Sunday night. So special teams, first things first for me, off the top. Have they improved or have they just started the trek to improvement? It's not going to happen overnight. But this was a huge week for Brian Polian's group. And they had a lot of work to get done. So let's see how much work they were able to squeeze in this work week come Saturday in Tiger Stadium when the special teams units are evaluated. After that, I want to see what this defensive line rotation looks like. Now that Mason Smith's out, and you heard it yesterday, Brian Kelly, he said it. He was asked by, I believe, Sheldon Mickles of The Advocate, asked him, now that Mason Smith is out, who's going to be next up as far as that rotation goes? And he mentioned Ty'G Hill, the freshman out of New Orleans, out of Carr, who's, could start to see some time here now that there's some opportunity. But Kelly said it right after that. They're limited. The depth, they don't have it. Mason Smith covered up a lot of the depth concerns that you may have, and he also gave you a very much a security about hiding some depth. That was look. If you listen to this show, I felt very secure about LSU's defensive line rotation. Now in the second game of the season, their best player on the interior is out for the rest of the year in Mason Smith, and Ali Gay's going to miss a half tomorrow night. So you're going to have to dig into the depth of what this group is going to look like.
And Quincy's on a scooter.
And who's going to play. But I've gotten word that Quincy's going to be back.
Okay. That'd be a great opportunity to see.
Yes.
I mean, that's what this is, right? Mm-hmm. Especially for LSU coming into this game without an Ali Gay for a half. But I'd imagine he probably won't play the entire game, or do you think you see him second half?
No, I think he would play second half. All these guys got to play. All these guys need reps. And when Gay gets back in there, they need to learn how to play together, and they need to learn – they just need the reps. I mean, nobody at this point is too good not to play, right? I think that, when Gay gets eligible come halftime, after halftime, you get him out there and play. But I think you get a good opportunity to look at players like Savion Jones, who we saw in extended action last week. Desmond Little didn't play as much as I thought he would. Maybe he gets some time here with Ali Gay being out on Saturday. And then Kelly said it, you might have to now kind of change your strategy as far as what you're going to do to help yourself out. Do you go more to a 3-4 look? Because you don't have as many options now as you once did at defensive line. So it'll be interesting to see what that defensive line rotation looks like. It's going to be Mekhi Wingo, first guy up. Kelly mentioned Ty'G Hill, and Quincy Wiggins will have his chance, I think, to get back and play on Saturday. You're going to have some guys step up. And, I think that this will be interesting to see how they kind of find their groove going into SEC play from a just a rotation standpoint. And then after that, what are they going to do on the offensive line? Right? Like that offensive line, the scary part about the offensive line to me and the situation that LSU is in is that they didn't practice a lot together in fall camp. In fact, they made the move to insert Cam Wire at right tackle and slide Anthony Bradford down to right guard, only, I believe it was like 10 days before the opener. It was the last scrimmage in Tiger Stadium. They decided to kind of stick with that lineup and then, started repping it, right? So, that's not a lot of, that's not a lot of time on the practice field to play next to one another. And then you start to shake some things up. Even last Saturday night, we saw it. Bradford came out. Tremont Shorts went in. What are they doing from a rotation standpoint? Maybe this week you look at a group of guys that include Charles Turner at center, and maybe you move Garrett Dellinger around to a guard spot, which gives you some relief in some other spots. I'm just curious on how they're going to keep playing with these groups, these rotations on offensive line as they try and continue to find their best five. At what point does Emory Jones become an option? I still think that they've got some lineups that they want to look at and they want to play from an offensive line standpoint. I think tomorrow is a good opportunity to start to, to crack that, to look at that, to see what they're most comfortable and where they can find their most comfort. Like I said, they played guys like Tremont Shorts last weekend. Will Campbell didn't come out of the game. You heard Kelly yesterday talk about how they need to be more deliberate on their tackle rotation for the offensive line. So, they're still looking at all types of groups, all types of rotations, all types of combinations of guys that they want to play together and see if they can fit alongside one another. So tomorrow will be a great chance, I think, to see, kind of what they're trying to get to. Where are they trying to get as far as the offensive line's concerned? Who do they feel comfortable in? Who do they want to give opportunities to? Who do they want to evaluate? Who do they want to look at? All of that tomorrow in these four quarters, I think, give you a great chance. And then, kind of a sub-header of that, right? If this was an outline, kind of, under Roman numeral 1, of offensive line, run game, right? Like try to establish some sense of a run game tomorrow night to give you some confidence that you can be reliant on that at some point. Because last week, I think we haven't talked about it here after all that we saw and we didn't see last Sunday night, and we've talked to a lot of people. One thing that we haven't talked, in my opinion, at least here on this show enough, is the inability to run the ball outside of the quarterback. Was 11 carries shared between Williams, Kane, and Goodwin? That's not going to cut it. And I know that their primary guy in John Emery is not available right now and still will not be available tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll be all back and ready to go come Mississippi State next week, and maybe he can change the tune of that running back room and that rush game. But, some of these guys, Kane, Goodwin, Williams, they got to get going. And tomorrow night, hopefully, is a good opportunity for the offensive line to open up some holes and get these guys out and running. Because, we talked about kind of the change in identity of LSU defensively, where, last weekend we saw their defensive backs breaking down in zone cover. It couldn't go man. When's the last time LSU's not been confident enough to, just go one-on-one with you? Go man-to-man on the outside, cover one, cover zero. No help. And last weekend you saw that even with help, Travis Rogers was having, or excuse me, Jordan Travis was having he was having a lot of success. And the identity of LSU for so long defensively has always been DBU and supreme and premier athletes on the outside that you can play one-on-one with. And it's also been a workhorse of a running back or just that one dominant guy of Leonard Fournette, Darius Geis, Joseph Adai, Jacob Hester. Go LeBrandon Toefield, Kevin Falk. I mean, they've always had this one dominant rusher that you could turn around, hand it to, and feel like he could get you 90, 95 yards a day. At least. That you could just feed. There doesn't seem to be that guy on this roster right now. So as the identity has changed for LSU defensively, where you wonder where these lockdown corners, where are these one-on-one guys that can take, these wide receivers out of the game, the same can be said on the offensive side, how their identity has, slided off the running game. I mean, they had no confidence in the running back run game last week versus Florida State. I mean, outside of Jaden Daniels carrying the ball, they gotta find some solution to help him out because, like I said, look, they gotta have Jalen. They have to have Jaden Daniels running the football for them to be effective, but they got to do it differently than what they did on Sunday night because they're going to get him hurt. He can't continue to run into the middle of the field, and I think still 14 carries that's got to be the max, and hopefully you don't get there a lot with him. I mean, hopefully somebody else can take the workload off of him of running the ball. And this is where I would incorporate players like Kayshawn and Malik into the run game.
That's what I was thinking as well.
I mean, I would just run them on jet sweeps at least twice a half. And almost just like these extended pitches where you put them in the slot, snap the ball, and just kind of just flip it out to them like almost like a toss sweep out and just say, get outside. Play one-on-one. Have your outside receiver smash down on the inside, on the nickel guy, whoever's guarding the slot, and let Kayshawn and Malik play one-on-one with the outside corner. I'll take that matchup all day with the ball in his hands. And I think that also kind of, it also kind of gets him moving, right? Makes him feel relevant. So a lot of opportunities tomorrow to fix some of the things that we saw last Sunday night. Those are tops on my list. Fix the special team stuff, right? Block and protect PAT and field goal. Catch punts. Make plays in the kick game.